Hi everyone, this is Jody Grinwald, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. This week we talk about a very important subject matter titled Spread Awareness, Save Lives. I welcome Carla Scarabino, Chief Development Officer, and Carley Dietrick, Addiction Navigator and Student Alliance Coordinator from Tigger House Foundation. Tigger House was inspired by the love of the Stavola family who lost their son and brother, Tigger, at 25 years of age to an accidental overdose. In starting this organization, their mission is to save lives against the dangers of addiction through community-fueled awareness and widespread informative education against substance abuse. During our interview, you will hear Carla share some incredibly scary statistics and how the number of deaths due to addiction are on the rise due to the pandemic. You will also hear Carly talk about the importance of educating high school students through their Student Alliance. Tigger House is a shoulder to lean on and an ear to listen for those in need. If you feel like you don't know where to turn or where to even start to look for help or assistance, whether you are dealing with addiction yourself or have a family member struggling, call 732-887-4851 or email help@tiggerhouse.org. Their website can be found at www.tiggerhouse.org. I ask that you please share this podcast, as you just never know who needs this information. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Today is the Day Live It. Today is the Day Live It. You can stream this podcast on all popular streaming sites or watch the video via the Today is the Day Changemakers YouTube channel. Have a fabulous week, everyone. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Today is the Day Changemakers. I am so excited to have, as I say, every single episode because our guests are amazing. My guests are absolutely amazing. They're doing amazing work in the community, and we're grateful every day for them. But today I get to welcome Carla Scarabino and Carley Dietrick to our show. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Jody. And Carla, she is the Chief Development Officer for the Tigger House Foundation. And Carley Dietrick is the Addiction Navigator and the Student Alliance Coordinator for the Tigger House Foundation. So again, thank you both for being here with me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So Carla, I'd love to start with you and kind of share a little bit of background, how you found yourself at the Tigger House Foundation and anything else that you can share about things from your past that led you here.
Sure. So I had been working both professionally and as a volunteer with many nonprofits in the area. In 2017, I was fortunate enough to meet Lisa and Rick Stavola. And I decided to join their team and really focus mostly just on fundraising and events. In 2019, though, I stepped into the role of Chief Development Officer because it was really time to hone the mission of the foundation. It had been around now for 5 years, and really look at the strengths and the biggest impact that it can make in the community. I'm sure you're aware there are a number of amazing addiction and recovery services in New Jersey, both for-profit and nonprofit, and Tigger House really needed to find its place. I think that over the past year and a half, we've been able to do that, and hopefully today we'll be able to share some of those success stories.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Carly, what about you and your background and what led you to Tigger House?
Yeah, thank you so much. I joined Tigger House Foundation in the summer of 2018. I have 11 years of healthcare experience, half with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, and the other half with our local Riverview Medical Center. And when I joined Tigger House Foundation, I was managing the operating room at the hospital, and really looking to get involved in our community where I can make a difference. I was inspired by Christian Peters to check out Tigger House Foundation. He's a friend and an amazing mentor of mine. After a few months of meetings and learning more about the mission, that I truly believe in, I liked what I saw. I knew that this foundation that I could truly support from the bottom of my heart. I felt connected right away, and I was excited to be part of the Student Alliance as the coordinator to inspire wellness and educate our local high school students on the opioid epidemic. Such a huge, huge need. And Tigger House has evolved and grown a lot. And, I just love where we are now and super excited, where we're going.
Right, and I want to get back to a little later about the Student Alliance. I think that's a really important piece of what you do. But let's kind of start going into why Tigger House was formed and what you do as an organization. Carla, can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, Tigger House was started because the Stavolas experienced a really tragic loss. On October 11th of 2013, Richard Stavola, was called Tigger, lost a 7-year battle with addiction. The Stavola family really faced a lot of challenges. There was a lot of harsh realities during the time that he struggled. I feel like they were very courageous because they were always very open and honest about his addiction. Even when he passed, his obituary states that he died of an overdose. And there are many people who aren't as willing to share that. And again, it's very personal, but it allowed them to really make a statement that they weren't ashamed, but they really wanted to make sure people knew what happened. After a few months, they decided that they really wanted to do something to honor him. And they created Tigger House in his memory. And the main goal, which has always been the same, is to combat addiction and to change the stigma. Again, like I said, we've changed focus a little bit throughout the years. And now our main goal is awareness, education, prevention. One of the things that guides the whole foundation and creates real passion in me is I didn't know Tigger, but everyone I speak to talks about his heart of gold and how he always wanted to help people, animals, anyone in need. And I think that through Tigger House, we really try and extend that hand in the same way. We really want to help anyone suffering through addiction, whether they be people who are dealing with addiction themselves, their family members, their friends, their loved ones, and just our community in general. So I think that's the underlying passion that we all have. And from my experience in being close with the Stavolas, I really have seen their pain, and I've seen the struggles that they've gone through, and meeting with other families really makes me passionate about our mission and really makes me know that we can make an impact and we can fight addiction.
No, I appreciate that. And it's amazing what they've done and how they're helping people through their tragic loss. And I think that we see a lot of that. That's almost a way of grieving sometimes, is by creating something out of, some sort of a terrible tragedy that happens. But the other thing that I just wanted to pick up on was the shame piece with addiction. And I think that's a really important piece. And maybe Carly, you can share a little bit about, what you see with that and how people can look at that in a very different way. If you might have, some sort of a message you could share.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And, this hits home for me and is often reality daily. I have many people in the community who reach out to us for help. And just recently, yesterday, I had an aunt reach out to help her nephew. And what she said was, if he had broken his leg, I would have had so many resources and I would have asked questions. I would have just turned to the person next to me and said, "Who's your best orthopedic?" Or I would have posted it on social media, like so many are doing, where can I find the best cookies? Where can I find the best facial? Are so many of the conversations that are happening right now. But since, she didn't feel comfortable doing that. And I think that just kind of sums it up, that people are not comfortable reaching out. But the reality of it is that more people are struggling and going through such a similar situation that you may be going through. So we really just need to ask and reach out. And that's exactly what we are here for. To be that shoulder to lean on and just to be that ear to listen.
I think there seems to be some stigma around the types of people that are connected to addiction. Is that correct as well, Carla? Where it's not the affluent, it's the underserved population. In many cases, that's what other people think, or what I've heard people think. It hits home with everybody, right, Carla? I mean, it does.
Absolutely. And I think that that's really a misconception. We've met a lot with law enforcement, with prosecutors' office, so many people in community, and those struggling, it's everyone. It really, truly is everyone. And unfortunately, it's a lot of mental health issues. It is feelings of isolation, relationships, things that drive people to different types of addiction. And I think that we all go through that. That's not something that people who live in a particular area will face. We're all face it. And even now, more so with the pandemic, with the fact that we've been isolated, lockdowns, unemployment, just being stressed about COVID itself. And that's why our numbers are now so high, and it is affecting everyone. I don't know if you want me to go into some of the statistics yet, but
yes, please.
so we look at the CDC, we look at New Jersey. Unfortunately, the statistics lag a little, but according to the CDC, from May of 19 to May of 20, in the US, there were 81,000 drug overdose deaths. And that number is so grim. In New Jersey alone, there was over 3,000. And the harsh reality is that in the numbers for 2020 are going to be up about 20% from that. The sad part is that from the research we had done in 2019, it looked like the numbers were starting to come down, but because of the pandemic, we're driving everything back up again. One study said that if you look at it, more than 200 Americans died every day in the US from drug overdoses during the pandemic. I mean, that number is huge. And that's just overdoses. That's not even people struggling. So I think there is a harsh reality that it is everywhere, and it is all around us.
Yeah, and what kind of services, Carly, can Tigger House supply to those who are struggling right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Being Tigger House Foundation's addiction navigator, I help anyone struggling with addiction to both drugs and alcohol. We know that, learning that your loved one is struggling with substance use or addiction, or reaching out for help for yourself can be, it's overwhelming, and it's an exhausting process. And unfortunately, being out there, feet on the street, going through this with those that are reaching out to me, people do give up. So, keep going, stay strong, because there is help. And what we do is we connect with many resources available in our community. So we're removing the research for the family or the person struggling that needs help. So, just to take that burden off of them. There are resources out there for everyone. And like we kind of talked about earlier, addiction does not discriminate. There are the same resources available to everyone. But, people are reaching out to us from Wall Street to honestly homeless under a bridge on the side of the road. So that's my role, to know and develop relationships with these resources in our community, so I know who to reach out to, based on the situation at hand.
And that's what I hear a lot of, to be honest with you, from other people. If they have someone in the family that's dealing with this, where do I go? I've tried this, they're not calling me back. I have to be, and not about your organization, of course, but it's, I've tried this organization, they're not calling me back. I left a message. So I wonder, how can we fix the system, right? Because the system seems that and if anybody on this podcast can hear dogs barking, it's just a part of being from home. So we'll just ignore that. But all I could say is that, if people don't know about you, they could be going in circles and they can give up. And how do we get more organizations like yours? Do you have any suggestions out there to be, how do people look for you? Because if I didn't know about you, how would I know that you were there? And I just want to make sure that we can drive people to where they need to be. Any suggestions on that?
Yes, so we have a phone number, which is available on our website. We'll put it on a link as well. Perfect. We also have a help@tiggerhouse.org. And I think one of the best ways is to follow us on social media. So for Tigger House, what we've really tried to do is step in front of it. We have two really great projects we've been working on this past year. One is our Student Alliance Speaker Series. So almost every week we have a Zoom call with our students. We currently have 50 members representing 13 schools, and we have a variety of topics. We do things from personal stories about addiction, wellness, personal development, mental health, whatever that may be. And we have those on our website and we share them on social media. So people can actually, especially for our students, even if they aren't part of that Zoom, they can hear what people are saying, and that can get them help. They can develop tools. The other thing that we've been putting on our website, and it's open to everyone, is called Conversations on Addiction. We've been hosting interviews with experts in our community. For example, we've had Ken from CPC Behavioral Health. We've had the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Carly did a wonderful interview with both Christian Peter and Nick Spinelli, who are in recovery. We're going to keep doing more of that. So again, ways to get help, whether you call us or even if a first step is through our social media, through our website, to watch some of these. We've broken them down into segments. So for example, with behavioral health, we kind of put in, what is the 101 of getting addiction treatment? What does that mean? What is inpatient? What is outpatient? Because again, education for our families or those in addiction is so important. So we, instead of waiting always for people to call us, we're trying to take the lead and put that awareness, that education, that information out there for people. So again, I encourage people to follow us on social media, because we'll post when that stuff is available. We'll post resources, we'll post other community members. So that would be what I would tell people to do if they think they're in need of help.
That's great. And I encourage everybody who's watching this or listening to this to do that, because you don't know. People keep things quiet. You don't know who's struggling and what that internal battle may be. We're talking a lot about things that are very, very serious, but I'd love to hear a story, if you have one, a story of hope, a story, a story of, inspiration. Is there something that you can share without names, of course, or anything like that? That'd be great. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. I could share, really brief. I had someone reach out to me. I was able to get them into, what we do at Tigger House Foundation is provide a lot of different resources. So then the family together can make the decision on where they think that their loved one would fit best. And they reach out and go through, I wouldn't say an interview process, but it's an assessment. A series of questions are asked to that individual struggling to make sure that it is the best fit for them. So, what is so rewarding is hearing that they arrived at the facility. They're there. They're there for a couple of days now. They're starting to open up. They're starting to talk. They're sharing why they use. They're kind of dumping out those demons in the center of the room. I get very emotional about this.
That's great. That's to share. Thank you for that.
And they're really putting the work in. And these are the updates that we get along the way. And, we become a part of their journey. And then once they're discharged, we just have created such relationships with them that, I have gotten a text from someone who went through treatment and said, I am rolling around on my lawn right now with my dog and I'm loving it. And I'm enjoying the sun and I am just enjoying the day. There's so much hope out there. There are so many people in recovery that are doing amazing things beyond their dreams, beyond their wildest dreams. And it is because, in recovery, there are programs and tools. You're given a tool chest to deal with anything that comes up in your mind that you would pick up a drink or pick up a drug to deal with. But now they're reaching out to individuals for help. So there's a huge network out there. And that's what we do, there are a lot of stories of hope and a lot of success.
What I love that you just did, which I think people don't realize is that you didn't say, oh, well, this person is, drug-free or alcohol-free. And that was great. They went from, we put them in somewhere and they're better. Because that's what everybody hopes is going to be, right? That's the story that they're looking for. But no, we're celebrating they're in the facility. They're putting the stuff out in the middle of the room. It's those steps one by one that you celebrate. They're in the sun and they're playing with their dog. Yeah. And people skip over and want to skip over all of those in-between steps, right?
Yep.
They just want to be better, but it doesn't just happen that way, and it takes time. Is there statistics? I know that people sometimes have to go into recovery multiple times in order to get to the other side. Do you have a statistic on how many times that could possibly be?
You know what? I don't have numbers specifically for that data or those statistics. But, with the pandemic, we are seeing a lot of relapses with people who have significant time in recovery. Virtual resources are amazing. But for those who are in Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, any of the 12-step programs out there, they have gone virtual. And I truly believe that what keeps an individual sober is that human connection. Coming to those meetings early, meeting outside the church, having coffee together, and leaving the meeting together and going to the diner and sharing a meal. These are just simple little things that keep someone on this journey. And like you said, Jody, it's one day at a time. And I tell family this all the time. They're like, well, what about their job? Are they going to get married? What about kids? And I said, I usually give them some resources because the family is also recovering right along with the person who's reaching out for help and struggling. So we need to remember that as well, because we do have resources that we provide to the family. But, to what you mentioned, someone who's going in and out of a rehab, we do see that happening out in the industry, of course. But we try to give them a different program. If you don't change, nothing changes. So.
And from what I've heard and what I've seen from others is you have to change your entire dynamic, because it's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You're hanging out with the same people. If you put yourself in the same situations, you're only going to wind back up in the same process. And the other thing I want to give hope to those who may slide, but there's a way out and a way up and a way to get through. And important to keep your network. And I love what you say, connection is so very key. Yeah. So there are some parents out there too right now. I know, virtually these the kids are really struggling, and they're having trouble with perspective about, at least I'm healthy. If this was 1985, we wouldn't even have Zoom. Can you imagine? I know, it'd be crazy. Carla or Carly, whoever would like to answer this, what would you tell parents right now on how to keep an eye on their kids? What should they be looking for, making sure that they are staying safe?
Carly, I'll let you start, and then I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff we're doing with the Alliance.
Okay, perfect. I just think back to being a teen and how hard it was. Young adults deal with many physical and emotional changes.
This episode of the Today is the Day Changemakers podcast is sponsored by the Zach G. Applaud Our Kids Foundation. The Zach G. Applaud Our Kids Foundation provides 100% funding to children living with financial barriers to take ongoing lessons in dance, acting, instrumental music, and vocal instruction. The Applaud Our Kids Foundation is hosting their yearly scholarship showcase on Sunday, May 23rd at 3 p.m. The children who are taking lessons through the organization's funding will take the stage and share their talents. For tickets, please go to applaudourkids.org.
Throughout their teen years, I know I did, which makes it difficult to pinpoint whether, some symptoms that you're seeing are drug-related or just simply puberty. And I want to give some credit to Psychology Today. I often reference their information, but it's behavioral changes, drastic emotional changes. Health and hygiene is huge, and that's something we focus on with the Student Alliance. We focus a lot on wellness, changes at home and school. We don't have all of the answers because, we're human beings just living this crazy roller coaster of what we call life, and we're all on our own journey. But this morning on the news, is so relevant. I just learned that now teens can buy drugs through a very colorful and attractive menu on Snapchat. And a teen just purchased drugs through Snapchat, and he's now dead. And it was just so timing, because that popped up on the news this morning, and I thought I would share that because I think it's important for parents to just stay up on the latest. I don't want to say, just stay up on the latest things of where drugs are being purchased. And I think, this has like been my message for this year and 2020 is that it's so important more than ever to have open and honest. Again, I go back to in-person communication and just talk about life, those walks in the parks, those talks over coffee, and meeting at the beach, anywhere you can be to have a conversation in your living room. Like you said, 1985, I was born then. But we were sitting down then to have dinner, without electronics. And I will say that my husband and I work on that, put your electronics in the basket. Nothing is as important, and we're going to have dinner and we're going to talk. Just some important things that I like to touch on.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I know,
absolutely. I just wanted to add that in terms of, parents, I think one of the things that we tried to help with the Student Alliance is take some of that pressure off the parents, where we're creating through our students actual empowering them to help their peers as well. Because I think that the onus is not only on the family, but on friends, on mentors, on trusted advisors, and really helping the way when you're in recovery, you have people you can talk to other than your own family. We're trying to create that with the Student Alliance. We're trying to empower them. We're trying to teach them skills and a toolbox to deal with things like depression, deal with things like addiction, deal with those things, not necessarily on their own, but having another network of people to do that. So again, as much as, we talk about the parents being aware, also the friends and other people in the community being aware to offer that support and that help.
Right. And it's hard to find people who you don't feel will judge you. Right. And I think that's the hardest part when you're in this type of situation or moving into this type of situation, is not feeling that you have a trusted person. And I think, like you said, we'll put out your information so that they can call and reach out to you both and just share what they're going through and feel like they can connect. I know that's makes people nervous to do that because they have to share that most intimate part of who they are and what they're dealing with and what they're going through. Carly, any advice for those who are skeptical about reaching out and how to get them to move forward to the step of reaching out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it goes back to knowing that there are more people who are going through what you're going through. And you're not alone. I often hear it's too late. My son or my daughter, my husband or my aunt is too far gone. It's not true. It's never too late to help someone. And it's never too late to reach out on your own if you need help. And I think it's huge to say that it's okay to ask for help. You may save someone's life or your own. And we, at Tigger House Foundation are here to help guide you and do this together because it's a disease. It's no different than cancer. It's no different than, when you receive a cancer diagnosis, you say, okay, what are the next steps? What's my plan of treatment? And everybody's on board to put that plan of treatment in place. And it's okay to reach out for that. But we need to make those changes so that it feels that easy and that simple to reach out when you're struggling with addiction. And that's what we're doing at Tigger House. But I just think that, anything that's shared with us is confidential. And just to feel comfortable to talk through it. And we're here for you.
The world would be such a much better place if we could take judgment out of our lives and the way we feel and talk to people, as well as allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and they go hand in hand. You can't be vulnerable if you're afraid you're going to be judged. So the more we can allow ourselves to realize that we're all judgmental in our own way, but if somebody needs you, instead of judging them, how about embracing them? And I think that's really important. Carly, I know that you are the navigator for the Student Alliance, the coordinator, and I'd love to hear how much, what do you love about that, and what you're doing with the students now. That's super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what we have going on right now is our speaker series. We have really brought a lot of different speakers, virtually. That's just how we have to meet now. But it really has been going well with a bunch of different topics. We asked the students what they're interested in. We just had a student say they were interested in burnout. And I thought, oh gosh, are they all burnt out on these virtual learning? And so we've been bringing on a lot of amazing speakers who have, shed a lot of light on their industries, their education, their experience in high school, their experience in college. And it's really nice for them to hear stories all throughout and be able to participate in that. What I truly love about the Student Alliance is that when, this summer we really started to kick it off with wellness initiatives and activities to get healthy. Because, like in the 80s, we could show pictures of addicts and this is what you look like when you do drugs. And this is what happens when you're not on drugs. And those scary pictures are just not working anymore. So we take a different approach. There are other things that you can get involved in besides drugs and alcohol. We did stand-up paddleboarding and kayaking with our students. And we were out in the river and they opened up, we talked. And getting high school students to talk is quite a task. So we try to, create an environment where they feel comfortable and it's fun. We had a ton of fun. So I really look forward to more activities like that. And it's just empowering them. Our message is be you. Nobody else can. And there's only one of you. So shine, bring your ideas and we're going to help you implement your ideas. So we're just, here to empower them and also provide the education. I don't know if Carly wanted to add more about the program.
Yeah, sure. I think the other thing that we're trying to do is through some of these speakers, develop some mentors for the students, which is really, really important. When you are in high school, we had a speaker the other night who suffered through addiction, and he said, I could only imagine how maybe my life would be different if I had had people in high school that I could talk to. So we're trying to create that network for them, that they feel they have people they can talk to, they have people they can open up to if they're not comfortable going to their school or their parents. And then the other thing we're doing is we're working with the Monmouth County Freeholders and their stigma-free movement. And we're actually going to be challenging our students to go to their schools and create stigma-free schools. And I think that that's, as we spoke about before, it's so important to do that. And again, as much as we say we're doing it, I think we really, really have to become more passionate about that and really not judging people and really not saying, oh, that kid does drugs or this person. Look, it's happening everywhere. And we have to, like you said, give people a hug instead of pushing them away. So we're really excited about some of those initiatives that we're taking with the students. And they're amazing. I mean, our students they are the future, they are the change, and they can really just do such amazing things. So we're putting a lot of this on them, but I know they're up for the challenge.
I can just see through the Zoom screen here how both of you shine and when you talk about the Alliance. So I'm super excited for what you're helping the youth do and helping them open up and share and give them an opportunity to have a safe space, which is wonderful. So kudos to both of you. As the name of the podcast is about Changemakers, that's exactly what you both are. And that's awesome. So thank you for doing that. Carla, I wanted to ask, what other organizations do you partner with in the community?
Yeah, sure. So actually, I mean, quarantine gave us a great opportunity. We were able to have a little bit of time to reach out to some other organizations, and there's so many in Monmouth County. The ones that I want to mention most that we've been so fortunate to collaborate with is the Monmouth County prosecutor's office has been amazing to us, just helping guide us, give us some education. Hazlitt Hope Network has been really good to us. We're doing some work with them because they have a lot of students in the Raritan community and Hazlitt and Bayshore that we're going to take into our program. We recently had someone from the Phoenix talk to our students, and that's really about wellness. That's been great. The Reclaimed Foundation, the Monmouth County Freeholders, the New Jersey Reentry Program with former Governor McGreevey. We actually met with him and had some great discussions. And then recently, I think we've been spreading the news that we moved to a new location in Red Bank. So we have a space where students can safely come. Anyone struggling can come and meet on one-on-one with someone. It's our own space now. We used to be in an office. So now it's a space that we can really keep safe, confidential. We can meet with people. And our neighbor is Open Heart Yoga. So we're really excited because we're hoping to do some collaborations where students or parents can actually do some yoga, which we know is really good for helping people with both mental health and addiction, and really do some collaborations with them. We've been really fortunate. Monmouth County is a great community. All of New Jersey is wonderful for collaborations, for working together. And we've really taken the time in quarantine to open up some of those connections.
That's great. We can do more in the community when we partner with other resources. And
absolutely.
I know, everybody on the podcast, pretty much, if you listen to it, knows that I'm also the CEO of the Zach G. Applaud Kids Foundation, and we're excited to do things together with you as well. Yes. And can't wait to see your new space. It looks beautiful online. So congratulations and kudos to you guys for all the work you had to go into doing that. I wanted to also find out, and I'll have you say this at the end as well. Again, just give your website and how people can find you real quick.
Sure. Our website is tiggerhouse.org. Real simple. And if you want to email us, help@tiggerhouse.org. Our phone number is on the website. So please, call, email, text, anything, any way that you want to connect with us, we'll be there. I think we put our phone number every single day on our social media just to make sure that people have it. So it's really easy, and we're always there to listen.
That's incredible. You were talking about 1985, Carly, way back when, and I think I shared this with Carla. I watched a movie when I was like 13. I don't know what year. I'm not going to say yes or no whether I was 13 in 1985. But all I will say is that I watched a movie called Not My Kid. And I don't know if you ever heard of it, but that was life-changing because there was a lot of, it was based on a true story. And I wish that, the same things don't work now that they did then, but that was an incredible movie, which my kids had to watch it. I made them watch it in 6th grade when they were going into 6th grade. And they're 19 and 22 now. They remember that. And my daughter bought me for one of the holidays, instead of it being on VHS, if anybody remembers VHS, that's what it was on. She bought it for me on DVD. And it's something I share with other families and things like that, because I'm not saying it's going to work, right? Because we're all different now. Generations change. But the story was incredible. So if you've never seen Not My Kid, I absolutely encourage anyone to watch it. It is about this topic, and it's really important. So now I'm going to ask you guys, have you ever heard of it? Before I go to that, Carly, have you ever heard of Not My Kid?
I haven't, and I absolutely will watch it.
Awesome.
Yeah, after you mentioned it, I did look it up. I think though too, I love that. And I want to show it to our students one day. Some of the personal stories though, from what I saw in that movie and the synopsis, is what we're showing them, real life stories and people that aren't that much older than them. Mm-hmm. So again, it's very powerful when you can connect with someone who has been through this, someone just like you who struggled, and now they're saying it's okay to struggle. Life is not perfect. And that's what we're finding is making a difference with letting our students open up to say, he's a lot like me and he went through this. So it is normal to have these feelings. It is normal. I can talk about it. And I think that's what a lot of that movie was about as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a great story, but just a point to what you just said. It's like, we say that, I can relate. I'll just use the name John. I relate with John. I have, I see John successful and went through the program, and I'm did great. And I have the same types of things going on in my life. So I should have the same outcome. Not always, right? Because you may need a little bit more. You may need a little less support. Everybody's so uniquely different. So sometimes the comparison is great to know other people have been through it, but doesn't mean your journey is going to be the same, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we offer so many different stories, so they can see that It's not a straight line.
No. And I love asking this question. I always ask my guests this question because we all learn from, I learn from everybody's answer, and so does everybody else who listens. So Carly, we'll start with you. If you knew then what you know now, what would it be?
So for me personally, it's just to ask questions. I always want to learn and understand the why. And know that everyone has their own story. We never know what someone's going through, and that has truly always fascinated me. We don't know what they're going through currently, what they went through. And I just, I encourage people to get to know other people and to connect, and checking in is huge for me, and has really been heightened during the pandemic. Just to call someone and make sure they're okay. Because, honestly, not everyone is okay. And we need to let them know that it's okay not to be okay, but we need to talk about it. And I share this a lot with our students. I'm the type of person that turns around in line at CVS and I start talking to the person behind me. And it's kind of like those Progressive commercials. Where my husband's like, what are you doing? They don't want to talk to you. And you know what? I've made some great connections wherever I go. I make it, my job in life, along my journey, to just get to know a little bit about everyone that's around me. And it's huge. So I'll take that with me.
That's beautiful. You have such a kind heart. That's amazing. And you know what? And those people at CVS or wherever you're meeting them, they'll remember that conversation,
Right.
So I think that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Carla, same question for you.
Yeah. So I think personally, as a mom learning about addiction, if I knew then what I know now, sometimes when my children who are now older were in high school and they did struggle, I would say things to them like, shake it off, be strong, be tough. I think knowing now, I might really try and focus more on providing them with some of the tools and techniques, because in life, they're going to face these situations again and again. And it's not about weakness, and it's not about just being strong and shaking things off. It's about learning the skills and the tools that will help you when things don't go your way or when times are tough. So that would be personally. Professionally, one of the main things I take away is that, not all overdoses have to end in death. There is hope, and everyone in our community can play a role in that. And I think really professionally, that's been the most important thing for me.
Oh, well, thank you both for sharing that. That's beautiful. And I unfortunately did lose a friend to addiction years ago, who I didn't even know was dealing with a situation. She kind of just disappeared from our lives, not realizing that that's what happened. And I think that, if someone is disappearing from your life, maybe question it, and going back to what you both just said, maybe question it, see what's going on. It may just be a personal issue. Maybe the friendship isn't working. Or maybe there's something way deeper, that there's shame and they need a hug, like we talked about, or just somebody to provide them with some guidance. Any other last minute thoughts that either one of you have that you want to share message wise with those who may be listening or watching? And I thank you both for being so open and sharing some amazing things today. Carla, Carly, anything else you want to share today?
I mean, I'll just say that we're here for you. And that's it. That kind of sums it all up. We're doing some great things out in the community. If anybody would like to reach out to us, sit down, have a cup of coffee, talk, you have ideas, we're here to listen and work together as a team, because we're stronger together. I mean, that's the bottom line. We need to reach out to each other, because no one person has it all. And we're here to support. So
I agree with Carly completely. And we've really made Stronger Together our hashtag for all of 2020 and into 2021. I think so many organizations see that, but most importantly at Tigger House, Stronger Together is so important. And I even encourage, people who lost someone. Our website offers the opportunity to memorialize people. And I think what we're learning is that there is hope in their stories, even though they had a battle and they may have overdosed and lost their life, there is still hope. That was a wonderful person who had so much to offer to this world, and they did make a difference while they were here. And just meeting with some of the families that have lost their children, we try and give them a way to share that story and share the beautiful light that they put on this earth. And so I just encourage, again, people to, whether it be reaching out to us, and it doesn't have to be about addiction, just reach out to us. If you have ideas or you just want to talk about things going on in your lives, or you lost someone, follow our social media, and not just for us, but because I feel like we're offering a service to everyone out there. So that would be my last message that I'd want to relay. Thank you. Thanks for giving us this opportunity to talk about what we do and what we're trying to do.
Thank you so much, Jody.
No problem. I'm so glad I can do that. And remember, when you share, like Carla just said, it's not necessarily for you. It could be somebody in your feed who just needs to see it.
Yeah.
It's not a selfish reason. It's actually to help and support those in need. So I want to thank Carly and Carla for sharing today and for all the work you do, because you're helping to change and save lives. And thank you for that. And I'm going to end with what I say every single episode, which is today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what are you going to do today to take one baby step or large step? It's up to you to get yourself closer to your goals. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you next week on Today is the Day Changemakers. Thank you.